On the wings of an angel, it's Seraphima on Our Sinclair. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special Our Sinclair. I, the Brent, sitting in for John Bodekar-Schaller, am here with this guy, Amigo Aaron.
How's it going, Aaron?
How's it going today, Aaron?
It's going great, dude. I love it.
Happy Father's Day as we record on a Father's Day.
Thank you. I am a father, a happy father.
We both are for that. Today, Aaron, a very special day. It's not often that I throw my weight around in a productive manner.
Yeah, nor you just do it in a destructive way.
That's right. But this time, I demanded.
He did demand.
To be part of this week's Our Sinclair, or this taping's Our Sinclair. And that is because we are looking at a very special game. But before we get to the game, Aaron.
Yeah.
Have you played one of a new game coming out on one of these old consoles and been awe-inspired?
Yeah, a couple times I've been awe-inspired by some of these new games. Listen, they're doing some good work out there. And what I like is they're throwing it around to all the different systems. You'll recall, the Brent, a few years ago on ARG, we took on some new Amstrad titles. We were blown away by how good these things were. They were really fun. A lot of new Coco games have came out that are really great. We played lots of good ZX stuff. Of course, the C64, we played a couple of those on the show. The C64 has been getting loads of good new stuff.
It has.
And now the Amiga is finally getting on the act with all kinds of new stuff. I'm excited about all this homebrew that we've been getting. I can't wait for more.
And Aaron, even just a few weeks ago, we looked at that Brazilian title.
Yeah, that was great.
That was a new release that was incredible.
Yeah,
and we both
good.
really enjoyed.
Yeah, that was a real surprise right there.
And Aaron, when people come back and they have the passion, the burning passion, and really the knowledge that you can only get from years and years and years, and all this collaboration that the internet provides, can we get some of these new titles that take the system so much farther than it could have ever been taken back in the day?
Yeah. A lot of these also, you're getting a lot of these coding jams, the contests and whatnot, where people are putting out great stuff and on a timetable. And some of that stuff is mind-blowing. It
is. There was a new demo released just a couple of days ago for the C64. And
I saw that. I couldn't believe it.
It was incredible.
I could not believe it. Yeah, it was awesome.
And it's passion, because no one's making millions of dollars off of these old remakes.
No.
It's passion for the system and saying, you know what, we know you can do more with this, and we're gonna dig into the dirt and find it and pump out as much power and as much goodness as these old consoles and old computers could possibly give.
Yeah.
I wish I had the coding knowledge or the artistic ability or the sound engineering talents to take part in some of these projects. I don't. But I can certainly find the cream of the crop and bring them to the people, and that's what we're going to do this week.
I will say there's one area where new game production has been sorely lacking, and it's a system I've been waiting for new games on for like 30 years. Where is my new Action Max titles? Listen.
That's what we can actually produce. We can do that.
Everyone knows that the Action Max has been sorely underutilized in 2023. So you people out there, you videographers and whatnot, make me some new Action Max action. I've done more out on my other tapes, brother, and now I need some new stuff. That's the one place I think they need some action.
Aaron, let's go to the show.
Woof.
And this week, we're taking a look at Seraphima.
Yes, we are.
And this comes out of a gaming jam, much like you mentioned. This is the Yandex Retro Gaming Battle. It is a competition that they hold in St. Petersburg, and it is their 3rd year, and they're already producing titles like this.
Is this St. Petersburg, Russia?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah.
It is a competition where they have their guidelines, and you submit the game, and they actually have a panel that reviews, goes over these games, plays these games, and picks a winner. From this, Zosya Studios, ZOSYA Entertainment, they are the ones who produced Seraphima. And it is, by the way, I'm going to pronounce the name of that about a million different ways.
Seraphima.
It doesn't roll off my tongue. But they have a long history of making games for the ZX Spectrum.
Yeah.
If you go to their store page, which unfortunately, due to the conflicts currently going on over there, they aren't able to sell worldwide because of all the embargoes.
Yeah, that's one of the downsides.
And I don't know I don't know their political affiliations. I'm not going to even fathom anything like that.
Yeah.
All I know is they have a love for the Spectrum for a computer that isn't known for its Russian history. At least when the system was actually booming. They have a huge market for it now. A lot of passionate people over there working on this kind of stuff.
The name of this outfit, Zosa, it occurred to me just now, because we talked about this before the show. I was like, I know I remember that name from something. They did a game, and I believe it was called Drift.
Yes, they did do Drift.
This game was unbelievable. Yeah. A few years ago, we covered this. So these guys, they didn't just follow the turnip truck, brother. They've done some already jaw-dropping stuff before this came down the pipe.
Yeah, a few of their other titles, Angels, Travel Through Time, Volume 1, Northern Lights, Drift, as you mentioned, Valley of. But this, in my humble game playing opinion, is the crown jewel. And it's not just a crown jewel for them. I think this is the most impressive game I've ever seen on the Spectrum.
Ooh, high praise.
This is a action platform run and gun game with Metroidvania elements. You are tasked. Well, you are Seraphima, and you are tasked to saving the world. Basically, all of the old gods have fallen. They have, or just abandoned their post, and they are now. It's up to you to stop the balance of good and evil from shifting too far one way or the other.
Yeah.
And you've got to go and stop the bad guy that is trying to push it more to the dark side so he can kind of take over and do his own thing.
Yeah.
The very beginning of the game, you are treated to this lovely image, and the game starts and you walk forward and you kneel down, and your mother's spirit talks to you and says, listen, your father's gone. Here's a key. Go to his and gather his belongings. And when you do it, the game is kind of set up like it's going to be this hack and slash game. But no, you pull out these 2 golden guns,
twin pistols,
and you are dual wielding this unlimited ammo gun game. It is fantastic. It feels so good to run down these passages, gunning down enemies. And the enemies don't just die in one shot. You're plugging them 6, 7, 8 times to get them to go down. And they're pushing forward towards your bullets. So you've really got to go in there and rapid fire those things. And it just feels so satisfying to do.
Even the attention to detail. When she picks up his pistols, it shows the chest. First of all, it shows the gameplay version of the chest. Then it shows her open the chest, and you see like the full screen.
Like a cutscene, yeah.
And then it shows her holding the guns, looking super duper sexy, and she's got this look on her face like, oh yeah. It's like, oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about right here. Yes. I'm gonna go destroy some crap with these guns. Awesome stuff. Great visuals.
And it has digitized speeds.
Yes, I couldn't believe that.
Now, it's a little garbled, but it's still more than I would have ever expected coming out of the Spectrum.
I'm pretty sure this requires the 128.
It does. Yeah. It does, yes.
But, I mean, this really utilizes the 128.
It does. So now you've got your guns, and you're going out into the world. And when you start out, you're in, like, your own home territory. So you can go and you can talk to the Oracle. Although she has nothing to say for you right now. But you go and you open the main gate that's protecting your home city, and you go out into the world. And from that point on, it's just a beauty, a spectacle of beauty and gameplay and jumping and collecting and fighting. It never stops, and it always feels so good. You're getting new items, you're fighting bosses, you're solving puzzles. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but I'm going to because I have to mention this. At one point, you find a horse, and it's chained up, and you have to get an item to free the horse. But after you free the horse, you actually get to ride the horse.
Yeah.
You ride the horse, and it's just to solve this one little puzzle element, right? But they have her on the horse, and the horse, the sprite for this thing is massive.
Yeah.
All the sprites in this game, I mean, they're not really sprites, but all of the graphics in these games are huge. They're so much larger than life, and they're so detailed.
Yeah.
It's amazing how good they look. This isn't just good for a Spectrum. This is good for pretty much any of these old consoles or computers of the era. They are producing graphics that simply blew me away. The fade into the sky, the different skyboxes, there is some color clash, but it's so rare.
Yeah.
And it's so minute. It doesn't take away from the game at all.
It's actually quite remarkable. You know, if I can jump in just for a minute with the graphics. Now, we play a lot of ZX games.
Yes.
And there's occasionally you'll come across an artist that is skilled. You've got artists, and you've got artists that know how to understand the medium that is the Spectrum, yes, the palette, the way things work, right? And I've got to say, these guys, their art abilities are off the charts.
Yes.
It's not just because you've got multi-planar scrolling.
Yes.
It's not because you've got they've done a good job of getting rid of the color clash. What they've done here, and this is something that the masters do on the Spectrum, they understand how to utilize a less is more philosophy when it comes to the way graphics work. Like, for example, you're in a room, the room is mostly black, but with occasional outlines of brick in the back wall.
Yeah.
Just to show you, okay, there's a wall back there hidden in the shadow. Then they've got the color that seeps in, and it works perfectly.
Yes.
As you run, as Seraphima runs across the landscape, in certain areas, and way off in the distance, you'll see sparkling fields of crystal or something.
Yes.
You know, then they sparkle. They're an actual moving graphic. They don't need to be there, but the touch is perfect. The fact that she runs in and out of things in the foreground.
Yes.
You know?
Doors, passages in the background and the foreground.
And the way that they've done the scrolling on this is, I mean, really, it's amongst the best I've seen in terms of the ability to pump out this multi-planar scrolling on the Spectrum. You've got a lot going on in some of these scenes where there's, yes, I mean, you've got not just like there's a background, I mean, a lot going on, but it's not every scene. And to do it in every scene would have been overkill. What they've done here is because you go into a lot of different doorways that lead you to a lot of different areas. And so it makes these different areas pop because you've not just seen that same thing over and over. You're seeing 4, 5, 6 different backgrounds. You're going into buildings and houses, and they're all different. It's a master class at utilizing the Spectrum's graphical abilities to produce something that you wouldn't expect, but that's so visually stimulating that you can't help but watch it. It's an outstanding achievement just in the graphics alone.
Yes. And going even one step further with that, Aaron, the like you mentioned, the little details. When you pull the trigger once on your gun, you shoot one gun, and she holds the guns up.
Yeah.
Right?
Cool guy style.
Beside her head.
Yeah.
So you go and you shoot once, or you shoot once or twice, right? You're using both guns. You're actually extending both guns. If you just shoot once or twice and you put the guns back up, cool. If you unload, if you're shooting like 10, 12 shots or whatever, when you put the guns back up beside your head, smoke trails coming off your guns.
Yeah.
It's those little bits, those little touches that, I mean, the game, if it didn't have that, would it change the game? I don't know. But it takes it from being the greatest game to one of the best of all time. I didn't enjoy this as a Spectrum game. I enjoyed this as a game.
Yeah.
I didn't go, man, this is really good for the Spectrum. I said, no, this is just really good. And that's a distinction that might not sound like much, but it's huge. Because a lot of the stuff we look at on these shows, Aaron, mainly ARG Presents, our sister show, we say, man, this is really good for the time period, or this is really good for the system that it's on. Seraphima is just really good.
Yeah.
Really good. Some gameplay elements here. This is a longer game than you would expect it to be. You can get through the entire game. If you knew exactly what doors to go in, you could get through this in about an hour. Now think about that. This is a Spectrum game, and it's taking about an hour to play the whole game if you know what's going on.
For an action game, that's a pretty good runtime.
There are multiple bosses. There are multiple landscapes. Sometimes you're in like a grease, columns everywhere types of things. Sometimes you're in a futuristic it
looks like a Thundar world or something, yeah.
Sometimes you are up in the clouds. Sometimes you feel like you're almost on like the plains of the Sahara.
Yeah.
You're next to the ocean at some point. You're
in the ocean at some point.
You go into the underworld.
Yeah.
All this stuff is packed in this beautiful, fun little package. The first time I have played through this about 3/4 of the way, and I've seen it played from beginning to end. The only reason why I quit playing when I did was my save got corrupt.
Oh, man.
Real quick thing about the save, you can save anywhere. Well, save. If you turn the game off, your progress is done. Okay, it's one of those. But as you're playing the game, you can pick up flags, and they're checkpoint flags, but they're not like you run past the checkpoint and then that's where you will respawn. You plant the checkpoint flags so that when you die, you go right back to that spot. And there's multiples of them. So if you put one down, you get through the section you thought was going to be hard, you come back, you put down another flag. When you die, you're in like this a spectral space where all the flags you've planted exist. And you can actually go back to a previous checkpoint. I don't recommend it because that's how my save got corrupt. But it's the fact that they can do that is amazing. A few things to note. This does have one bug in it that is known from a few people that have streamed the game that I've watched. I've actually helped them get past this bug. At one point, you will come up to a gate that needs a star. And back from that, in the same hallway, the same platform, there should be a horn that you can pick up. If that horn is not there, you are essentially soft locked. It does happen. It's unfortunate. I'm hoping that they will update that and fix that. It doesn't happen every time. In fact, for me, it never happened. For the person I was helping, it happened quite a few times. But there are bugs. The game is not flawless. But the adventure this takes you on, the puzzles you are solving, the bosses you are defeating, all of this is an epic adventure. It has beautiful music that plays throughout.
Surprisingly good, and it's moody. It's good. I liked it, yeah.
Incredible. I can honestly,
You're a fanboy
I
here.
cannot believe, that this is produced. I cannot believe this exists. I did not think this would ever be capable. Aaron, do you have any final thoughts on this game?
Well, getting down to the gameplay, so this is a run around and shoot stuff.
It's a run and gun.
But this, in a lot of ways, this is sort of a traditional. This is not totally outside the realm of the ZX. Although it's being an action game, it is. But going into the portals that take you. When I first started the game, I thought it was going to be a game where it was like a side scroll.
Right, just run left.
I ran all the way to the end, but I couldn't go anywhere. I'm like, what am I doing? When I see the doorway there, I'm like, okay, it's one of these. So you're going to go. What you really want to do is write down where these doors go.
You can map it
because it gets confusing if you don't. You're really going to want to map it. Also, there are some areas here where you could just run off the edge of the screen and die. Like in the water, for example, you can hold the joystick and get a little bit of looking downward. But there are some areas here where I would just jump right in the water because I didn't know there was water there.
Well,
so I'm just saying that's there. So you're going to want to make sure you know where you're at especially when you're off of a platform or a mountain.
Okay. Well, hold on for 1 second.
Yeah.
Are you seriously complaining?
Listen, I'm calling it like it is. I'm not blinded by the light, brother.
If there's a platform and it ends, what makes you think
But you can't see the water. You can't see the water.
You can see the water.
There are areas here where you're going to have trouble seeing what's the next level down.
There are no blind jumps. If you get to the edge, you can look up and down and see what's in front of you.
I'm just telling you. Hey, listen, I played it for the first set of eyes. Also, you do have an inventory, so you're going to have to go through that and mind it. You're going to pick stuff up.
Well, you can never fill your inventory.
Right, but you're going to need a keyboard to actually use some of the items.
Yes, it uses the keyboard. So.
Now, I used my Mister to play this, and it actually supported the second button. So you can open your inventory with the second button, which is nice.
Yeah.
So that your mileage may vary if you play this on an actual Spectrum.
Which you can play this on an actual Spectrum.
The chick, if you hold a direction long enough, she'll gain momentum. She'll like
start running.
go into sprint mode, basically.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of neat. But it doesn't, from what I can tell, it doesn't actually affect your abilities to jump.
Yeah.
Which is, I would like to have seen that.
Well, there are items later on that augment your jump.
All right, but still, if you're going faster, it's not like you should be able to jump farther. The creatures in this are really the ones I saw. I saw these guys that looked like wizards.
Yeah.
I saw these guys that had big guns. I saw a mech. I saw some lizard-looking guys.
Yep.
I saw some weird, freaky-looking grasshopper man or something. So there's a lot of wild-looking stuff in here to shoot. And when they die, they explode in this crazy way.
Yeah.
It's almost like something in the Matrix or something. There's characters flying everywhere. It's real bizarre when they die. When you die in this game, it's a pretty cool scene where it plays this song, and you're in this death area where you sort of like walk back to where the flag is. And it takes you back to the checkpoint was where you put your flag down. Pretty cool. I mean, it's a cool effect. I like the way it looked. They didn't just kill you, but also it doesn't take that long. So if you don't want to linger there, you can just go. Because when it first happened, I just stood there waiting for something to happen. I didn't realize I was actually playing her in the area. So I just sat there. I was like, what do I do? This game can get confusing, and the enemy that you fight are really vastly different in terms of how much it takes to kill them.
Yeah.
Like some guys, it takes forever to just shooting the crap. Like there's a mech in this. I shot this guy like 1,000,000 times. I was like, man, you can't kill this sucker.
The mechs take about 12 shots.
It doesn't take much to kill you. I mean, you've got a health bar, but you can get depleted in a hurry.
And the health bar, you pick up items to increase your health bar. It actually gets pretty vast, and later into the game you need that.
There are areas that require what I would call semi-pinpoint accurate jumping, and this is one of those games where like you've got to figure out how far off a platform you can go before you jump. And you could go further than you think. Like you could have her like one of her high heels on land.
Yeah.
If you're jumping on like something in the water. So it wasn't what I would call Mario levels of accurate, but I thought it was okay. You just have to learn. The animation doesn't necessarily match up with where the jumping takes place. So it's something you're going to need to, practice a little bit. It's not hard to practice, and once you get good at it, you're okay. But there's also that. But everything you said, I pretty much agree with. I really enjoyed this. I didn't get as far as you did. I played this thing for probably half hour straight.
No. To get into this is again,
no. I mean, in one man. Is what I'm saying.
I gotcha. This is something that if you are willing to invest the time, you continuously get rewarded the more you play. You get to see, because the visuals that you saw, Aaron, are really only about 1/3 of the visuals the game offers. You continuously get rewarded with items, with abilities, with new graphics, with new enemies, and it compels you, or at least it compelled me, to keep playing, to keep going, to see what this amazing crew had put together and that they're going to show me next. There is, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to go into deep details. I want people to play this game. I want people to experience what the Spectrum can really do. What was capable. Was this capable of pulling off in 1987? No, I don't think so.
I mean, it was capable of it, just no one knew how to do it.
Well, that's what I mean. If you want to play this, you can download it from the Yandex Retro Games Battle website. It's completely free. You can play it in the ZX Speccy Java web browser. So you can have all this fun on literally anything that can run Java. And it is fun. It is an incredible time.
It's quite an achievement. It's worth loading up just to see the incredible art. Yes. The loading screen is, it's good. If you're into that sort of thing. These guys were album cover level hotness women. We did get a couple reviews here, the Brent, if you're interested. The first one coming from our buddy Pajako. He writes in, quite honestly, on one of the most beautiful looking games I've seen on Spectrum. Sure, you need a 128K machine to run it, but when you see the amount of graphics and audio crammed into this thing, it's easy to see why. It runs silky smooth and the controls are pretty tight, although platform jumping can be a little hit and miss at times. This isn't your typical run and gun style game. It seems more of an exploration as well as shooting enemies in the noggin. The sprites and level graphics are incredible. Even the cutscenes are drawn incredibly well and are a sight to behold. If this had come out around 1987, it would have sold Speccy 128 machines by the bushel. Bring a pencil and paper because this sucker needs to be mapped out. Pajaka's not just like me. I couldn't really work out what rooms link to where in my head, and the world map appears to be quite vast, so you can get lost easily. I played this one for a little while and still don't feel like I've seen the majority of it all. A must-see on the Speccy 9 out of 10. Jed Byrne chimes in. Revisiting classic Spectrum games comes with a familiar experience. In your mind, the game had amazing graphics, rich story, and a vast, varied world for you to get lost in. Then you play the game, you have to admit it was amazing for its time. Seraphima is the Spectrum as you remember it. Yeah. The giant, colorful sprites without a single clash, the wide world that keeps surprising you with a whole new environment, and a story that is in the game itself instead of on the cassette inlay. This is a Spectrum pushed to its very limits by the top-tier coding talent. It is amazing for its time, which is 2023. And lastly, Mr. Dave, large sprites, great use of colors, great background music, well-built angel with guns. That's what he's done. I'm right there with you, Dave. Quite a game that you've come across. You were excited to play because you saw it played online, I believe.
Yeah.
So is this a hit with the Twitch streamers? Is this one that you see cropping up?
There's not a whole lot of Twitch streamers pushing the ZX Spectrum in 2023, but Macaw45, if you're familiar with him, he played through the entire game. It took him 2 sessions because he ran into the horn bug. Thankfully, I was able to help him through some of what was going on, and he did end up completing the game. I was so close. I wish my save didn't get messed up. And I'm probably going to go back and play this because I enjoy playing the game. I enjoy the gameplay. And I'm probably going to go ahead and finish this one off for myself, even though I do know how it ends and the spectacles that are ahead of me. incredible game. I will not believe that this is a Spectrum game, but here it is.
Yeah, I've never seen you so passionate about a Speccy game where you demanded to run the show. I like that. I think this is a real winner. And by the way, if you haven't checked out the other titles from these guys, give all of them a look. Like I said, Drift is another one that was remarkable in its graphical abilities. These guys are artistic geniuses, and they put together something real special here. That's for darn sure, the Brent.
So, Aaron, what's coming up next week?
Well,
which I won't be a part of.
But me and the boat will be back in action. Hey, listen, listen, my friend, my good pal. It's nice. It does my heart good to see a man like yourself, a snooty type, who's coming downtown and getting with the cool boys that are playing the ZX Spectrum. Hopefully you'll see other titles that get you so fired up, and you'll be back again. But let's see what me and the boat are going to be taking on next time around. Bam. Oh, here's one we played, Brent, on another machine. It's Solomon's Key.
Yes.
Solomon's Key. Now, we played this on ARG it was an obscure system, as I recall, too. This is one of the, I don't recall the name of it. I'll have to go back and look. But we do have some experience with Solomon's Key. I've not played the ZX version, so that should be a lot of fun. Hey, we want to thank everybody for checking us out. All of our nice, lovely sponsors, Patreons. And, of course, we want to thank Frank at Retro Rewind. Everyone else that supports the show, we really appreciate you guys. We'll catch you again next time around for Solomon's Key. And until then, rewind tape.
And press play.
You got it.
Our Sinclair is made possible by contributions from listeners like you. Patreon supporters help choose the games we play, receive exclusive magnets, and get access to the Amigos Retro Gaming Discord server. Visit patreon.com/Our Sinclair if you'd like to support the show and join our community.